Every generation there is this saying that goes, is there a show out there that speaks to me?
Xbox,
Twitter, Uber,
Postmates,
Netflix, Movie Pass,
Google, Facebook, eBay,
DoorDash,
Apple, Amazon,
Airbnb,
The Apptrepreneur. Hey everyone, this is Kevin the Apptrepreneur, and well, it's official. I'm married. I'm going to be wearing this thing for all of eternity. That pretty much means I am now a slave to my wife. When she says, yo, honey, bed, then I gotta go to bed. So that's what my life is gonna be from now on. And technically that starts this week because this is the week I start my honeymoon. Now this video was recorded in advance. You can see the moving boxes are still there, although we are wearing this just for, decoration at this point because we want to be consistent. And I know that I got married a few weeks ago. However, the honeymoon got delayed. What can I say? Which means I've got to figure out new kinds of content that I could actually put up for you guys so that you guys can keep coming here every single day, even if I'm not there to make the news. The other problem is that news doesn't actually, stay fresh for the most part. It moves on, it flows, and in fact, I'm probably going to be missing some major stories while I'm on my honeymoon, although hopefully she'll let me make a couple quick live streams if something major happens. Now, I did think, what if I reviewed Stuber? Because this is a movie about Uber drivers, sort of. I mean, it's a crime cop comedy thing. It's okay. I mean, it's like a 2.5-star movie, in my opinion. Katie liked it a lot more. The problem is, at least as of the time I'm recording this video, there's no footage. I can't really highlight scenes. So that seems like a bad thing to actually start with a review video on this channel. I just wish that there was, like, say, I don't know, a TV show that was made for us, like The Critic was made for Movie Critic. Oh! Okay, that will work. This is a show called Liza on Demand. It was created by Deborah Kaplan, Harry Elfont, and Liza Koshy. The show is starring Liza Koshy, Kimiko Glenn, and Travis Coles. Now, yes, Liza in the show is the actress, is the creator, is the comedian who has created this show. If Kimiko Glenn sounds familiar, it's because she plays So-So on Netflix's, in my opinion, much better show, Orange is the New Black. And the concept of this show is pretty simple. It's about a college-age student named Liza who makes her living through on-demand apps like Uber and Postmates and TaskRabbit, particularly TaskRabbit, and the daily ups and downs of working in the gig economy. The show actually premiered last year in June of 2018, but if you have not heard about it, it is because it is a YouTube original series. That means you have to have a YouTube Premium, or at the time, YouTube Red subscription to actually watch the show. And I think that's still the case, although a few episodes are available for viewing for free. So after this review, if you are curious about any of this, you can go to YouTube and look it up and probably find it. Now, with the exception of Cobra Kai, YouTube has not had a lot of success in the original content arena that Netflix and Hulu are so dominating. Yet, this show must be doing very well because in January of 2019, they actually renewed the show for a second season. And I also have to admit, like, on a personal level, it's kind of cool to see this show exist because the Liza in the title was actually a Vine user before she became a YouTuber, before she became a professional writer, comedian. So it's actually really nice to see YouTube originals going to their actual creators who are on their platform and giving them opportunities to make shows. With all due respect to Cobra Kai, which I love, I liked the idea more when they were doing things like Scare PewDiePie, where they were going to go to the original content creators that they knew were popular on YouTube and give them their own shows rather than outsourcing to Hollywood like to Will Smith and Jimmy Fallon for content. Now, we're not exactly sure where YouTube's going to go in the future with their original content because they did have an unexpected hit with the boy band Con, and it might even be considered for an Oscar nomination for Best Documentary Feature. And then you have hits like Liza on Demand, which is clearly YouTube bred and born, and yet we don't know what the future is going to be like. Original content is obviously very expensive, so shows like these might not be around a whole lot longer. However, we're not here to talk about the politics of original content on YouTube. We're here to talk about Liza on Demand, and hey, is this just a good show in general? And even if you get past that, is this a good show about gig economy workers? Well, the show actually starts out promising enough with Lisa taking a kid who looks to be 13 to 15 in an Uber ride. The kid is clearly not communicating with her, talking on his phone, and she's basically a bystander to his, bratty conversation, which is something I think a lot of Uber drivers actually can relate with. She's going to drop off in front of his school, however, there is a cop there, and she doesn't want to get in trouble for transporting a minor, which, on a side note, by the way, this is why we talk about it on this and other channels, why you should never take minors. It's illegal. It's against their terms of service. Don't do it. But like most Uber drivers, she needed money, so she picked it up. So she drives him a little down and tries in vain to convince him if he could please just walk a few feet. And, by the way, don't let it affect the star rating.
Okay, listen. There wasn't a poop, but there was a traffic cop, and it seems I have a substantial number of unpaid parking tickets, and I didn't want to get caught, so I lied. Look, I am genuinely sorry. I hope this won't affect my rating.
Of course, this doesn't sit well with the guy, and he does what all pissy, self-entitled Uber passengers actually do. He threatens her with a bad star rating.
That my mom paid for me to get dropped off exactly where I want. Not a whole block out of the way because some bitch is too dumb to pay her tickets. 1 star.
And then she's like, oh, you want to pull that on me, punk? Well, guess what? I can rate you too.
Okay. That's how you want to play? Guess you're forgetting I get to rate you too. That's right, you potty-mouthed little brat. You get to explain to your mom why her rating suddenly dropped so low she couldn't get picked up if she had a handle and Gucci stamped on her ass. I also deliver food for Postmates and groceries for Instacart. So unless you want me to tank her rating with every on-demand service you have, you best move your finger over to the 5-star button, and I will do the same.
After the title screen, we are introduced to Lisa's roommates, effeminate gay guy and self-entitled bitch. I know they've got actual names, but honestly, their personality traits are so thin at this point that honestly, that's the only way you can refer to them. But stereotypes aside, I mean, this is just the premiere episode. How bad are these stereotypes?
Guys, Bark Paul has literally crossed 1 million followers on Instagram. You realize that changes everything, right? I mean, we are so exhausted. I had to give Bark Paul half my Xanax because he's such a nervous flyer.
Please tell me the gay guy is a little bit better than this.
We have a sign on our office fridge, right next to the one that says, "Don't eat Denise's yogurt." Sorry isn't gonna fill my mouth with delicious nesting cupcakes. This is that panic later moment I was telling you about earlier.
Honestly, that's not a whole lot better.
My driver's here. Liza, I'm gonna need you to promise me that you're not gonna Airbnb my room while I'm away.
What? I would never.
I know you've already done it twice.
Do that again.
I kind of wish she would, because that would make for a very entertaining storyline. I mean, if you really stop and think about it, yeah, you have a roommate you don't like, so Airbnb the room from the roommate you don't like. I mean, that would actually be really funny. I wish they did it.
I'm so busy working my ass off doing all these random gigs. I'm all side hustle and no main hustle.
You know, this line right here actually highlights why the show isn't as funny as it could be. Because gig work is, you're totally overworked, you're totally underpaid, you're very underappreciated, and it's really a show that isn't about this for the most part. We don't see her struggle. She just complains like, oh, I'm doing all these gigs, and I'm overworked, I'm underpaid, and we don't see the struggles. And I think the struggles would be funny if done properly, and yet we don't see it that often. I mean, she lives in what looks to be a very nice apartment and has 2 slightly annoying friends. However, with 2 roommates like this, she's probably getting by fairly well. So, you know, I don't know.
Or that's just an excuse you use so you don't have to commit to anything.
You know what? I'm not going to comment on that one. That's too easy.
No, I'm fully committed.
Sure, the way you were fully committed to putting up your picture wall. Or putting that IKEA table together.
Hey, people who work on the gig economy are very, very motivated. I was going to put that box away months ago, but I'm still getting around to it. I swear I am.
It's here. Look, the cupcake.
The cupcake?
Yes, it's a cupcake baked inside of a cupcake, baked inside yet another cupcake. The chef from New York is doing a pop-up for one day only, 2-day Screw your parking tickets. We're getting a cupcaking.
So for those of you who want to know what the plot of this first episode actually is, Liza, because I've been pronouncing it wrong the whole time, but let's correct it mid-review, and her roommate want to get this exclusive dessert that for some reason this bakery is selling on only one day. One day. Keep that in mind because we're going to be referencing that just a little bit later.
Wait a second. Are you just saying that so I won't finish my tickets and you can be right?
No, I wish I thought of that, but no. You know I do not mess around when it comes to exclusive dessert drops. Cupcake! Clean that shit.
Sorry.
You know, the more I watch it, the more I'm not surprised this is a YouTube original show. However, before they can go get their cupcakes, Liza has a TaskRabbit job she has to do. So what does she have to do?
You want me to...
Euthanize my cat, please.
Oh dang, this show just got really dark really fast.
You want me to kill your cat?
Yes. Here's the address for the vet. You just take him inside, bring him to the front desk. I already called in my credit card information and told them to dispose of the ashes.
He doesn't even look sick.
I'm sorry, are you honestly questioning whether or not my cat should be able to end his life with dignity? Your app says any job, anytime. So if that's a problem, just let me know, okay?
No.
And all of a sudden, the show just got a heck of a lot funnier.
I can't look at his little face. Oh my God, you're gonna kill my cat. You're gonna kill my cat. Thank you for doing this. Bye. You.
Yep, seems like the typical customer response you'll get on TaskRabbit. Obviously, Liza has huge issues with this, so she kind of just keeps the cat while she goes to other TaskRabbit jobs, basically trying to avoid doing this horrible thing she was just asked to do. Although, give the guy credit, it might be weird asking her to euthanize his cat, but at least he didn't ask her to put a puzzle together.
Oh.
Are you kidding me?
Gotta finish this puzzle. Great figures in science.
You still have the cat!
No, I don't.
I can hear it, Liza. Hello?
I'm sorry, am I supposed to find the fact that he wants her to kill the cat funny? Because it's really not. And honestly, even Family Guy had a hard time making that joke funny.
Oh my God!
Peter, you killed it.
Well, you guys relax. He's got 8 more lives. Okay, 7 more lives. 6. 5.
So the two go to this pop-up cupcake stand, and I'm just looking at this thing, it's like, that doesn't look like a very temporary stand. That looks like something that's supposed to be there for a while. And by the way, if it's that popular, why would you go to that much of a hassle for something that fancy? I think you would want your cupcake shop to be up at least 2 or 3 days, especially when we find something out just a little later on. Of course, the next big dilemma is that, surprise, surprise, the owner doesn't want any animals in his cheap little one-day setup.
You can't come in here with that cat. Health code.
No, I can't leave it. It's dying.
Not fast enough.
No animals. You have to leave.
What about that duck?
That is a registered therapy animal. Do you have paperwork?
Okay, I'll give you that. That was pretty funny, too.
I'll be right back. Hold my place.
No holding places in line.
Okay, get me a triple chocolate.
1 per customer.
Oh, for God's sake, it's cupcakes. Sell her the cupcakes and ask her to leave. We don't need to do this. She wants to buy cupcakes. She doesn't have to eat them there. It's not like it's a sit-down dish. Just sell her the cupcakes and have her walk out, or have him buy the cupcakes and he can walk out with her. You know, it's moments like this that show that this really is a YouTube production. So she hides the cat under the bench, and I'm sure you're not gonna be at all surprised what happens next, but the cat disappears later on when she comes back and she starts to panic. Although, interestingly, her roommate kind of has a point and says, well, is this a bad thing? Because you were supposed to kill it. And she's like, no, I really need to find it, and thus we got to spend more time looking for the cat. You know, when I pictured a show about the struggles of the gig economy, babysitting a cat that someone asked me to kill is not exactly what I had in mind when thinking about this particular show. Also, to drag this out a little bit longer, apparently all the cupcakes were sold because a Postmates person came up and bought the last dozen. And why is that when he said that you can only have 1 cupcake per customer?
People in line. Postmates was running a special, order up to a dozen or something.
Okay, yeah. You know, as someone who works for Postmates or has done Postmates, I don't work for the company themselves, obviously. This isn't typically how Postmates does it. Postmates makes deals with established businesses. These are businesses that are there, and they don't do it for pop-up restaurants, because pop-up restaurants could be gone the next day. They want to set it and establish it in the app. So no, there isn't going to be a deal like this for Postmates. That only happens if you plan to be there for more than one day. And by the way, considering how fast you sold out on your cupcakes, maybe you should be there for more than one day. And never mind, the reason it's a pop-up is because it's a specialty chef from New York who is coming here specifically to do something. He's not going to partner with Postmates. Honestly, guys, did you not do research on this before you made the show?
Oliver, I'm sorry.
Sorry isn't gonna fill my mouth with delicious nesting cupcakes.
But just as the show is getting unfunny and illogical, the show gets even more illogical but more funny as we find out that the cat wasn't even the guy's own cat. It turns out it was his roommate and he hates it, so he called TaskRabbit to dispose of it for him without her permission.
To work from here!
Please tell me you didn't kill him. There's nothing wrong with him.
There's nothing wrong with him? There's nothing wrong with him.
I admit, this is totally wrong and totally ridiculous, and yet it's really, really funny. And it doesn't take long for them to find the cat from this guy who apparently rescues cats in his own free time and takes them to, I don't know, some safe haven or something like that.
What are you doing with that cat?
I'm rescuing it, obviously.
No, that's somebody's cat. You can't just take it.
Well, that someone didn't seem to care about him at all. Left him under a bench, like a discarded newspaper or a used condom.
Gross.
Again, I'm not 100% sure what this has to do with the gig economy, but let's just finish. We're almost done. He's not really willing to give the cat back, but thanks to some quick thinking, she gets away with it, and he basically decides not to chase her because, well, in his words...
God, no. Do you know how many stray cats are in this city? No. Catman does not do running.
And with that out of the way, we probably get to what is easily the funniest sequence of the entire episode. As Liza gives back the cat, and the owner is so happy to have it back, while the person who wanted to get rid of the cat is clearly not happy.
Monster, Lyle. A monster!
That cat is the monster. He pissed on my record. You are the worst tasker ever. I gave you a simple job, and you didn't do it. I'm not paying you.
Hey, since I did bring your cat back without, murdering it, do you think maybe I could hang out here for a little bit? If I could hang out here until little Julius poops out a puzzle piece so I can get paid on my other job?
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention the cat ate a puzzle piece earlier, and one of her jobs, that puzzle she was supposed to put together, she can't put it together with the puzzle piece. The problems of a sitcom star.
What kind of weird business are you running?
Yeah, I think maybe you should go.
No stars.
You don't even have the app.
Negative stars. Damn it, you don't.
Yeah, that's probably like one of the funniest jokes, because this lady does not have the app, doesn't want to pay her for not killing the cat, does not want to pay her for bringing the cat back, and yet the second she says something she doesn't like, negative stars. That's actually so much closer to reality. That's what makes that scene so funny. Thankfully for Liza, the puzzle piece was not eaten by the cat, it was just misplaced, and the person who hired her to put the puzzle together actually was really happy because, hey, guess what? Now the kid has something to actually do. Like, wow, that was the payoff to that whole storyline. And hey, look, she's gonna get a cupcake too, because the mom actually was the Postmates purchaser who bought a bunch of cupcakes and is willing to just give her one.
I only bought them because they were expensive.
I will admit, this show does have some really funny jokes, because things like that strike me as a lot more true than not true. Unfortunately for Liza, an inconvenient plot point from earlier means that her car is about to get towed, because guess what? You can do anything you want on the apps, including paying your parking tickets. But maybe an exception could be made if she'd be willing to give up her precious cupcake.
Is that a cupcaking?
Yes.
I really wanted one of those, but I couldn't leave work to wait in line.
Did you try Postmates? Here you go.
Yeah, so most of this episode was just about that cupcake. You built up that they really wanted the cupcake, that because she had to do all these things, she couldn't get the cupcake, and the payoff is she doesn't get the cupcake? Well, that seems unusually mean. So the episode ends with Liza paying her parking tickets, putting up the shelf. Oh, and guess what? The other roommate, whatever event she was at, had a bunch of the cupcakes, but her and her dog are on a sugar diet, so she didn't bring any home.
Oh my God, and the cupcake and people were there. But, you know, Bark Paul and I are off sugar until after his calendar shoot, so we didn't take any.
Seriously, why is this only going on for one day? Clearly they're really popular. They should just stick around for another week or so.
I'm brown with no boobs. The most you could get for me is like $50.
It's so cute. You think you're worth that much?
Girl's got a dream.
I'll fix it later.
No, you won't.
No, I won't.
And honestly, that's kind of how I feel about this show. So that's the first episode. What about the rest of the show? Well, admittingly, I only got through about 4 episodes, but the show kind of gets progressively worse, in my opinion, and has less to do with the gig economy than the first one. I mean, I'll give the first episode credit. At least the gig economy was central to everything that was going on, even if the focus was, strangely enough, on cupcakes and cats, which I don't think gig economy people really relate to at all. The second episode, Liza realizes that she's not getting as much moving jobs on TaskRabbit because she is a girl and decides to dress as a guy so that she can get more jobs, and finds out that the reason girls typically aren't hired to be moving people is because they aren't typically as strong as guys. So, you know, there's also a subplot about someone saying, why don't you smile more? And that's apparently like the biggest offense in the world, which I personally have never understood. So there's like this whole thing about that where she destroys the guy's model to his father just because she was offended that he said that to her. I mean, real mature. And then the third episode has Liza going to her old high school for a pizza day snack thing and being cast in the lead play for Rent because people think she's an actual student there. What's this got to do with rideshare? I don't know. And that might ultimately be the biggest issue with the show when you get down to it, is that this really isn't a show about the gig economy or gig economy workers. Like Stuber, it uses Uber, Postmates, TaskRabbit as like a setting for a very typical standard movie or show. With Stuber, it's a buddy cop movie, except with an Uber driver. With Liza on Demand, it is a teenage/college comedy with sitcom situations that are not realistic in any way, but are there to evoke a laugh. And the whole gig economy aspect is really just a window dressing thing. It's not even really the main focus. Considering that there is actually a lot of humor to be mined from the gig economy, all you have to do is go onto Facebook message groups and uberpeople.net and find all the crazy stories people deal with. This is really disappointing. Liza Koshy is a very funny woman, and her co-stars could be funny if they were less stereotypical and more rounded characters. Basically, the key for a show like this would be to have genuinely funny situations with generally interesting characters and set it in a unique setting, which is the gig economy. In the case of Liza on Demand, they're not really doing any of that 100%. The only thing that truly works is Liza herself, which is why I believe the show got a second season. And hey, you know what? I am all for the show improving. I will probably finish the show at some point, and I'm hoping that when we do get the second season, they lean more into the Uber situations. They lean more into Postmates. They lean more into TaskRabbit, and they actually make this show what it promises to be about. A college-age student, or not a student, she's just a college-age woman who is living in a very expensive city, who doesn't have a lot of skills, so she is doing gig economy work to make it by, and all the pitfalls that come with doing such work. I think a show like that would have far more viewers than what it has now, although apparently it did have enough viewers to get a second season, so good for them. Overall, 2.5 stars from me. It's not good, but it's not terrible either. Basically, this show could get worse. However, it could also get a lot better, and we're just going to have to wait and see whether it gets better or worse. In the meantime, if you want to become part of the gig economy yourself, check out our sponsors who will give you a great heads up. Times are changing for gig workers and the gig economy, and there are a lot more gigs from a lot more companies than there used to be. That's why when people ask me where they can go to find resources for the gig economy, I recommend gigworker.com. At this site, you can see what other gig workers are doing and discover better opportunities from industries, companies, resources, and even a forum where you can talk with other people in the gig economy. Gigworker.com is a great resource site, whether you work for Uber, Lyft, Postmates, DoorDash, TaskRabbit, Thumbtack, Upwork, whatever. There's a gig for you and there's a forum for you on gigworker.com. Gigworker.com for all your gigs. And finally, what do you think about the show? Did you like it? Did you dislike it? Is this something you're going to be watching? Is this something that you want a second season? I would love to know. Comment below. Like, favorite, share, subscribe. If you enjoy my videos, consider becoming a Patreon member. It's totally optional, but even as little as $1 a month goes a long way to helping the channel run smoothly. And as always, flame responsibly. Have a good one.
I got an email from the people at Tasket. I have enough 5-star ratings to apply for elite status.
Sounds fancy pants.
Because it is. Elite taskers get paid twice as much per gig, and a 401k, and health insurance.